A little bit of Weightless by Arlo Parks here on BBC Radio Humberside for Ecotime. Now, I caught up earlier with Shane Herath, who is from Eco-Friendly Web Alliance, who are taking on the massive task of auditing and lowering the carbon footprint of our world's websites and digital consumption. Eco-Friendly Web Alliance, incredible thing. How did it get started? How did you become involved?
I've been in the tech sector for many years now, Alan, and I began to witness some of the large excesses, particularly in the IT sector. Everything's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, from the average file sizes of things to the mundane pictures or screenshots, or the normal pictures we take from our phones, to hardware specs and so on. So more and more, I started sort of looking into it. I was really alarmed by what I saw, and I felt that we needed to do something about that. And left my corporate job about 4 years ago, founded a sustainable innovation think tank. A bunch of us got together and we came up with a sustainable innovation manifesto, and started sort of talking about an alternative approach to design, development, and running applications. As you can see, it's quite a big area. There are a lot of things happening, from data centers, transmission networks, to various types of sort of applications, mobile apps, and the devices, and so on and so forth. So we needed a clear example to get the message across around this concept called digital sustainability. So Eco-Friendly Web Alliance was born, and we are looking at ways in which we can reduce carbon emissions of websites and digital platforms, but also looking at the bigger picture as well, from data poverty to the digital divide, and more sustainable practices around our consumption levels when it comes to tech. It's an ongoing journey, but we are getting quite a lot of support from a lot of others as well. Some of our peers who are really supporting us, encouraging us, and it takes a cohesive, collective effort to make change happen.
I know that you've offered quite a lot of free support to charities and people with websites where they're conscious that there's an issue, but they're not quite sure how to go about changing that.
Absolutely. So we felt that we needed to make a start. I mean, we can't do what we did with the climate crisis, for example. Wait until the science is agreed upon and everything, and then we start taking action. So we've assembled a scientific advisory board. There's an 11-member scientific advisory board who's guiding and shaping this direction of the standard that we have set in terms of carbon emissions for websites. But it's only a starting point, and we are listening to some of our peers, some of our basically members, as well as the wider community, and anyone with valuable ideas. We are happy to take that on board and shape the direction of where we're heading with this. We may be even looking at lowering the carbon emissions per page, because we need to aim higher, but we need to make a start and get people behind in order to have sufficient sort of action to kind of progress that. Otherwise, change would not happen if we raise the bar too high, too early, for example. So this all started, looking at that number, if you like. It's from a carbon emissions perspective. Internet is estimated to emit 3.7% of the global carbon emissions. And this is similar to the aviation industry, which we often look at when we as an example when we're talking about carbon emissions. So with roughly 80% of the world's energy coming from fossil fuels, these things are powered by quite a lot of fossil fuels at the end of the day, hence the carbon footprint. So we need to kind of look at ways in which we can practice a little bit of responsible consumption, and that's Sustainable Development Goal 12, applied in a bit more of a digital kind of context, everyday digital kind of context. So yeah, coming back to the website, we for the website owners, we give anyone who requests an audit. We go beyond the homepage. We cover a reasonable cross section of that website and give them a report. This is where you are in regards to the your website's carbon footprint, by different pages of that website, and some recommendations in that regard. And what we're trying to do is increase that awareness levels, as well as get people to take those 2-3 steps to reduce carbon emissions of those web pages. And also, Alan, I mean, it's only a start, as I mentioned earlier as well. We can look at our wider digital habits, our approach to tech, and some of the sort of infrastructure and some of the services that we may be purchasing or have subscribed to. For example, streaming is another area. When you need to buy a certain kit, for example, a device, and if there's a justification for that, of course, can you look at maybe refurbished or remanufactured as opposed to sort of buying new all the time and things like that? So there are responsible things one can do to improve and support that digital sustainability, because we just can't be building more and more data centers. That's not the solution to kind of keep up with the demand. I mean, there are other problems that it leads to as well, from noise pollution to high water consumption and a bunch of other things. Yes, data centers have gotten more and more efficient. The energy efficiency has been pushed to the upteenth limit. But what about the rest of the circular economy around that? The rest of the infrastructure, and are we sort of practicing some of those circular economy concepts around maybe extending the life of those devices to recycle? I mean, e-waste is another area. I mean, what can we do at the beginning of that cycle to reduce that e-waste? So, we've got to go back to our consumption levels when it comes to digital. What are some of those sort of checks and balances with regards to us using technology? Of course, there are good use cases, alleviating maybe food poverty or understanding the climate crisis, food traceability. So some of these technologies can be used for good things. So we've always got to look at that impact. And also at an individual level, what can we do to help? There are 2 billion websites out there, Alan, nearly 2 billion websites. And in that regard, when you think about it, every single website has the power to make a difference. So if we can get a sufficient body of website owners to reach lower carbon footprint levels in regards to their websites, it can create a movement. And we've already started on that. We've got terrific organizations beginning to do that. But as I said, it's a journey of learning and learning from one another, and then everyone pulling in that direction.
So when you give people advice on their websites, what kind of things have come up? What kind of things have you said you might want to consider doing this differently?
What we're trying to do is get website owners to look at the whole of the website. There's that minimum threshold, initial sort of recommended limit of carbon. So it's about making that start and then operating the rest of the website and bringing the carbon footprint down. Of course, you can also we invite people to look at green hosting, so using a renewable energy powered host. So at the end of the year, we encourage website owners to look at ways in which they can take responsibility for that site's estimated carbon for that year, maybe through rewilding or regenerative farming or responsible, credible bit of tree planting. We are also, from an accreditation perspective, that's only an optional thing we do. We want people to first and foremost take that free service, get that support that we give to them. We're a small organization, but we're trying to basically get the work with the community and drive this forward. So from a guidance perspective, if anyone's done any changes to their website and wants to get a recheck, a re-audit, we do that for them at no cost. And we also take a strong ethical stance as well, Alan. It's really important because we can't be, for example, endorsing a site that has an adverse impact on the environment. We take a strong ethical stance in doing that as well. We are a social enterprise. We are B Corp certified, pending at this point, and also a proud member of the Association of Sustainability Practitioners as well, and also the Organization of Responsible Businesses. So we're looking at it as a community-driven social enterprise, trying to make change happen. You can, email us on info@ ecofriendlyweb.org. You can visit our website, and if you want to get your website audited, the audit is called "What's My Website's Impact on the Planet?" Click on that button and then request a free audit. It only takes 30 seconds to do that, and we will come back to them with an audit report within a few days, and you can take it from there. And there's absolutely no cost in doing that. So we're inviting as many people as possible to find out what's their website's impact on the planet, and then take that journey.
Thanks ever so much for telling us all about that, and hopefully people will be going online responsibly and finding you now.